I have 30 minutes to share with us what's in Exodus 30. We are going to look at three components. But of course, in the book of Exodus, it was just about the technical details of how the altar of incense was built, how Aaron should conduct oblations in this altar, on how an atonement offering should be made, on ransom money for census, so that every time they count the children of Israel, there's an amount of money that has to be given to the Lord. Uh, okay, about the Ark of Covenant and certain comments, and well, so we understand the process in the Old Testament, but I wanted to open your eyes to what was going on here. When you want to start a religion, because religion is about conditioning the thinking of people, building a belief system, uh, creating a habit, a habit that has shared values that people would eventually come to respect and follow. Uh, Islam, for example, as a religion, according to history, Muhammad uh, was at a point in his life sheltered by monks, and he was told about the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ. This would be 571 or 771 years after Christianity had started. And he was an Arabian. He left Arabia. He was accused of thefts, of petty thefts. This was also written in the Quran. He was accused. He didn't agree that he stole anything, but he was accused. So he said he ran into a cave. And when he got to the cave, he found out that it was like a monastery. So in those days, a lot of these Coptic monks and a lot of Christian monks, priests, who had evolved out of the Judaic way of thinking and the Nicene way of thinking, would stay up a mountain. And when they were in that place, they would build like a monastery in a rock or in a very secluded place, just like the desert of Arabia that Apostle Paul went to. So they will build a very secluded place. And then there they would all be together. They would study, they would worship, they would learn to write. So if you see Catholic monasteries till tomorrow, if you see of the olden ones, any of the old documentaries, you see that it is in this place that even the scriptures were written. They were copied out by handwriting. They will take priests, they will sit down and they will give them the old scroll and they will tell them to copy out the words, word for word, without adding or removing from it, painstakingly, so that they can preserve the scriptures. So they will do that. Then they will share thoughts. So like St. Francis of Assisi, like Brother Lawrence, like Brother Wolf Vaughan, a lot of them like that were monks, Christian monks. They would teach the younger ones. They would show them how to run a monastery, how to provide food in the monastery, when to take in the public, if there is a war, if there is a famine, and how to issue bans, how people can. So they will show them the tradition of how things are done. And this was where Muhammad came to. So Muhammad saw the way the monks organized themselves, the way they talked. He saw that they were taught about the gospel, the Jewish God, so to say. It was one of the reasons why throughout the Quran, Muhammad had no other point of reference but two. One, we would always talk about the people of the book and their book, which are the Christians. We will say they are noble people, they are people of honor, whatever, because they taught him a lot of things. The second encounter he now had then was the encounter he had with one evil spirit or one demon that he said appeared to him in the same cave, and that the evil spirit made him fall down, made him stagger, talk to him, and at the end of the day, he believed the evil spirit was God. And then the evil spirit showed him the words of the Quran written by an angel on a leaf. And of course, from that point, began to lie. But how then did he begin the religion? So when he had a following, he began to talk about what he saw, but he couldn't do a miracle. He couldn't heal the sick, couldn't raise the dead. He didn't learn the gospel very well. So even the Quran is sprinkled with facts and figures from the scriptures. The names in both books are quite common. You realize then how come if he had waited and learned, perhaps he could have understood the gospel properly, but he left too early. And then he wanted to do a version of that religion himself. So what he did was he gathered all the gods in the Arabian Peninsula, and then he put all of them in a particular box. And then he told everybody that when they stone it, they are pleasing God. And he basically just created this activity, created activities around the new religion. He didn't mind that it led to war. He didn't mind that had to be tricky in certain places. He just wanted to establish a religion. The same thing is happening here in the book of Exodus, chapter number 30. Moses was establishing a religion. The Israelites were not used to one. Abraham never had a religion. He only had a relationship. Jacob never had a religion, had a relationship. Isaac never had a religion. He had a relationship. So even Joseph, the children of Israel, throughout their days in Egypt, they never had a religion. They had a relationship. Having a relationship with God is the original intention of God. But Moses realized that because these people refused to come onto the mountain in, I think, Exodus, was it? In the early part of Exodus, when he was trying to bring them to the mountain to meet the Lord, many of them said they don't want to. And because they refused to meet with the Lord, I think it's Exodus 19 or thereabouts. Because they refused to, they couldn't have a relationship. That's a problem. So now he had to create for them a pseudo relationship in which they will be performing rites, performing oblations in order to please God, which was not how God worked with Abraham or with Isaac or with Jacob or with any of the 12 sons of Jacob. God never at any time asked any of the 12 sons of Jacob that, oh, my 12 sons, all of you gather together, join your hand together, somersault, kneel down, face the west or face the north. Never. God didn't even have a special covenant with anyone apart from Abraham. Abraham was the only one God had the covenant with, and the children of Abraham, including us, were bound by that covenant till tomorrow. But Moses was trying to create an activity for people so that people can be God conscious. So you see how it is when some people will take the Bible and they will have superstitious beliefs around it. Oh, why are you holding the Bible that way? You must not hold it upside down. Okay, that's a thing. Or some people will take the rosary. Oh, this rosary. When I pray it, the saints listen to me. And then they build the religious balls around it. And then they would go ahead and they will get a statue of Jesus. And they will kneel down before it and say, it was when I went to kneel down before the statue of Jesus, I got my blessing. Or they will tell you that they had the statue of Mary that was crying, and that those who gave to it were blessed. And then they will, so these are religious things. Are things by which there is a constant reminder that if we don't observe this religious thing, that we are failing God, or that God can be angry with us. Establishing such a thing requires hard work, a lot of planning, a rigorous planning. And Moses seemed to have become expert and an expert by this time at establishing and building blocks of religion. So he started the first thing that Moses ever built, religious thing that ever built, was the Ten Commandments. After building the Ten Commandments, he realized that he needed to create like an ark where he can keep the Ten Commandments, like a box for the Ten Commandments. Like he created the Ten Commandments first. Then he said, oh, okay, let me create a box for it. And then inside the box, what are we going to put there? Okay, the Ten Commandments itself. Then the rod of Aaron that budded. Because it's a supernatural event and it's an evidence of God's power, put it there. Then manna, the manna that came from heaven, said, oh, so that people can have evidence that we ate manna. Then they took some manna and they put it in the box. And then they covered the box. What are the things that are put there? Historical thing. Like, you have to understand what literacy can do to somebody and what literacy can do. So what is special in the things that Moses put in the box? Nothing. They were like somebody who came from a rich royal family, and then his father had a certain kind of crown, his grandfather had another kind of crown, and then they had a museum built, and then they put all these crowns there so that he can use them to tell story of his father and his grandfather. I remember going to Badagry years ago, and when I got there, I saw the slave market where they put chains that they can put on the neck of people, chains that they can put on the hand of people, and they were all preserved to talk about the history of the slavery, of the slave trade. That's basically what it is. When the people are evolving, they would have history, and that history is often preserved using things. It's often preserved using things. So if any of you, I believe you understand now what he was trying to do here. So all these things that Moses will say, and God said you should do it this way, and God said you should do it that way, and God said you should do it this way, that you would think that Moses was getting a blueprint, a template from God. It wasn't God. Those are not things that were done in heaven. Things like that. So, and the mandate of God is thy kingdom come, that will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So the thing that Moses was instituting for the children of Israel on the earth, they were not the same thing as the things that are happening in heaven. It was creating a whole new reality apart from God's will, which was why you will notice that today, somehow the Ark of Covenant just disappeared in Israel. Like they are still looking for it everywhere. They couldn't find it. It didn't ascend to heaven. It probably has been destroyed somewhere. I don't know, been kept somewhere by some of those priests, because the ark was more important to them than God himself. It was just a thing. And God did not want us to substitute things for him. God has no desire for that. An altar of incense. Till tomorrow, there are some churches that use incense. In the New Testament, when we pray, our prayers rise up to the heavens. They are collected, our prayers, and even the tears of the saints. Tears of the saints are collected in a bottle. The prayers of the saints are like an incense. They would get to a point where angels then, according to the scripture, would offer our prayer as sweet-smelling incense to God. So for this reason, Moses also had altar of incense, an altar where they will burn sweet-smelling and spiritually feeling incense. So some of us, so when I was younger, years ago, this was when I was in my 20s, I had a friend whose father was a Muslim. He too was a Muslim. But this boy, the father liked him to pray a lot. So the father would tell him, oh, Kabiru, you have to pray 3 hours tomorrow. You have to do fasting of Kimiko. And they are trying to be spiritual Muslims. So this guy will now go and buy incense from an Islamic store. He will buy incense. He will put it on in his room, put it on the window. He says that once he does that, the prayer can easily be acceptable by God. That the incense will try to drive away evil spirits, jinns, and that it will attract angels of God so that when he's praying, the angel can hear the prayer. So every time when I visit him, so the guy lives in Iwo and we went to boarding house together. So when I visit him, I'll see that I'll be in the sitting room of the house, maybe watching a TV show or something. And then this smell will be coming from the room where we both sleep. It will light up in the afternoon. So his father will say, that my son is a prayerful boy. My son is a prayerful boy. One day, there's no better way, there's no good way to say it. So let me just say it. So one day now, the father was around, I was around, myself and the father were talking. And then the father said, so the father wanted to show me some of the things he bought from Ivory Coast, but he didn't want to stand up himself. And I said I should call him Kabir. That will call me Kabir. He said it in Yoruba. I should call Kabir for him, that those things out of his room so I can see them. Suddenly I opened the door. So Kabir forgot to lock the door. So I opened the door. And I found Kabir and one fine girl, one of the Eleas or the Alajas that used to cover head, all these veiled Muslim girls. And I saw them having sex there. And the whole room was smelling of incense. So all the while the father thought the boy was praying. Oh my. That's what religion does. Why people so much hold on to religious, this is this, of what benefit? All it does is promote ungodliness. I'm saying it emphatically, that there is nothing as ungodly as religion. There's nothing. No Christian in this world is religious, should be religious. A Christian should have a relationship with God. That relationship with God will change the way you think, the way you live your life, so that your life will not exist around things. So you will see how it is when God in the law said, thou shalt have no graven image, no graven image. And yet see how Moses was continually building graven images. God does not contradict himself, but you cannot have religion without graven image. But we are Christians now. We don't have any graven image. In the Lord. In fact, we are enjoying spirituality at a level that is so high and so potent, so resourceful and result-oriented that the Jews had in the wilderness. They had religion, and all it produced in them was murmuring, backbiting, rebellion, anger, provocation, with all the things that Moses did with religion. It's the same people that didn't allow him to enter the promised land. Because religion does not pay anyone. Religion does not have any benefits to offer anybody. I'm talking about the one you call Christian religion and Islam and Buddhism, all religions. They are man-made. They are man-made. They are product of theology, the study of God, and they are a product of man-made systems. I'm 100% anti-religion. 100%. 100%. Like, I don't even want to hear. I'm not religious in any way. I don't want to hear anything. When I see people that are religious, I just keep away from them. They are hypocrites, all of them, because there is no God in religion, in any religion. That's why Christianity is not a religion. People will tell you relationship with God. That anybody is waking up in the morning, you see how ridiculous it is. That somebody will say, oh, when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is pray. Then the person kneels down, prays for 30 minutes, sits up from the bed, I still praying, and then carries a gun and says, yes, I'm going for my daily bread. I'm going to, I'm an arm robber. I once saw a video of girls that are about to go out on a Friday to go and sleep with men. All of them wearing skimpy clothes. You will know that, okay, these girls are out with the determination to go and catch men and collect money from them. To have sex with men and collect money. That was their purpose. And all of them joined their hands together and they were praying, Lord, as we go today, let all these men give us, let them not give us any problem. Let us not have any problem with them. Let them give us what we are asking for. Let us all come back home with money in our pocket. And they were praying. And I was looking video, was one of those reels on Facebook or somewhere. And I was thinking, my God, like the audacity, that's religion. Religion allows you to do wrong things in the name of God. Allows an armed robber to say, Father, as we go out today, bless our hustle. That's a religious, it's anybody that is spiritual will not even have that kind of a hustle. A religious person, however, can be selling cocaine and be giving money to church, and they can be using money to build church. And the Pope will be saying, God bless you, my son. The bishop will be saying, God bless you, my son. That's religion. Religion will aid and abet ungodliness. Religion will aid and abet sinfulness. Religion will aid and abet all sorts of evil as long as it results. But spirituality does not. A spiritual person is oftentimes forthright, straightforward. He will make his decisions. Even if he made mistakes, he will make them and he would own up to them. He will not be a whitewashed tomb. You know how the Bible used to call the Pharisees? Jesus would say, you, God of vipers, talking to religious people, God of vipers, hypocrites. That's religion. All religion produce are hypocrites. All. There was nothing good that came out of everything Moses did. Not one good thing. In fact, that Ark of Covenant in the book of 1 Samuel, when they said, oh, the Ark did this, the Ark killed Uzzah, and all the other English they were talking about, they simply did not understand that when Moses gave them those rules and regulations, there were certain spirits that Moses invoked to give those institutions legitimacy. God didn't want them, but Moses had become a God himself. So because of that, Moses war for a while. You notice how when Jesus came, he removed every trace of Moses and Moses' thinking and Moses' way of life from the kingdom. He didn't allow anybody to bring Moses' idea into his kingdom. Because the idea that Moses had and the kingdom he established was a kingdom of religious understanding, and God doesn't dwell in religion. It's very important that we know this, because if you understand, when you are reading the scriptures and you see all these religious activities that were being instituted by Moses, you are supposed to wonder typically that why was Moses going through all this trouble? Why? Like people have said they worship your God, but Moses grew up in Egypt, and in Egypt there was a religion. There were priests in Egypt. He grew up a prince of Egypt. He grew up inside Pharaoh's palace. And inside that palace, we have magicians, we have conjurers, we have all sorts of monks, we have all sorts of religious orders in that place. And as a prince, as Pharaoh to be, you have to learn the ways of this religion, because all these gods are being worshipped in Egypt. Egypt had a lot of gods they were worshipping. I think they had major gods that they had, 13 major gods. They had the sun god, they had now the river god, they had so many other gods that they are worshiping, and all these gods have their own priests. So if you grow up in the palace and you watch all these priests, the way they conduct themselves, it is not difficult for you to say, okay, going forward, because we want to worship Yahweh, let us have people that will do this, let us have people that will do that, let's have people that will do those, and then you begin to do your things that way. This was where Moses erred a bit, where he had to do things thinking that if the children of Israel can have a structure, if they can have like a religious pattern that they follow, that perhaps they'll be more serious with God. Perhaps they'll be able to love God the more. Perhaps they can save their lives. Perhaps they can become friends of God. But it wasn't so. They were worse. Religion does not make anybody better. It is like institutionalized corruption. There is no place. It's one of the reasons why, if you see any organized church, till tomorrow, even church where they are calling the name of Jesus, Holy Born Again Church. If you see an organized church till tomorrow with all the members and all their leaders and all that, if you see them together and you look at them in X-ray for real, you will see that all of them will love each other, but they will still have complaints here and there about each other. They will see about each other. Some of them will still be judging each other. Some will be thinking this one is not doing enough, this one is overdoing. They will be doing all sorts. And that is as a result of human nature. It is how we are. It is how we are. So religion can't make us holy. What then can make us holy? Relationship. If you know God for yourself, personally, say, I know God one-on-one. This is important. And you begin to walk with him. Within a short time, you will notice it will change you. It will change your language. It will change how you think. It will change the things that matter to you. For example, years ago, I value people's opinion. I was once a people pleaser. When I was in university, maybe at 200 or 300 level, I realized that I valued the opinion. I like people to like me. So even if they are wrong, I'll just be like, let's go with it. But as I grew older, I realized that's not me. I do not care whether you pelt me or stone me. When I know the truth, I will say it. I would just rather say it and rest than not say it. Because we don't make you defer to the wrong people, make you walk in loyalty. So you see, religious people are always talking about loyalty. They're always talking about it. Oh, in the church where I used to attend, when I was in Bible school, they told us that loyalty is the key. That if you are loyal, you will make it, you'll prosper, you will grow fast. But if you prove yourself to be a rebel, we will deal with you. You know, they will say it and I will laugh because they do not understand that throughout the scriptures, all the people that truly heard from God, they were rebels. Jesus was not a religious person. John the Baptist was not a religious person. Elijah was not religious. Elisha was not religious. Nobody. Of all the prophets, it was Moses that instituted the office of the priest. And Moses himself was not a priest. He was a prophet, but it was difficult to teach people the way of prophecy because that would depend more on God. But priesthood office depends more on formula, tradition. Write this down. Every morning by 10, you must come and change this potty. By 12, you must kill a goat. By 1, you must kill an elephant. By 3, you must burn the tree. By 4, you must sit down and eat it. By 6, you must come back and pray for your sin. By 8, you must kill a goat for your sin. By 10, you must bless the Lord and sleep. Then you wake up in the morning and you follow the same routine. That was the office of a priest. But that's not the office of a prophet. A prophet has dynamic office. The Lord will speak to him today, go here. Okay, tomorrow, sit down there. Next tomorrow, lie down on that bed. You don't stand up for 6 hours. Next day, okay, go to that mountain and pray. So a prophet is led by the Spirit, and that is who we are now. But Moses was establishing here. And so when we look at the two contrasts, we'll see that religion produces priests, spirituality produces prophets. Priests will follow a certain order. They are men pleasers. They want to be loyal. They want to do several things. They are not going to hell. Just that they do things. They do not do things as led by the Spirit. They follow a formula, a set proviso to do things. But the prophet hears from God, is led by God, and declares the desire of God upon the earth at will. So which category do you belong to? As we look at those scriptures in the book of Exodus, I believe that you are getting something out of it. You are being changed from within. You are getting to know that you are a spirit being, and that you have the Holy Spirit have expression in you instead of depending on things and formula in order to think you are pleasing God. I believe you are blessed by this class. If you are, I'd like you to shout glory.